You're listening to Marketing Impressions, brought to you by M. Roberts Digital. We are data-driven marketing experts who develop, deliver, and optimize business growth campaigns. In this podcast, you can expect to expand your knowledge in the big wide world of marketing and hear real-life marketing examples. I'm your host, Jordan Sherrod, and I'm thrilled to make marketing matter for you today. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Marketing Impressions. That's impressions with an M because we are M. Roberts Digital. So today we're going to be talking about content creation and any position related to marketing, communications, PR, things like that. It's important for you to develop a habit and cultivate a skill of just capturing photos and videos, whether you're at an event for your company or just something amazing is happening, someone's donating a huge check, I don't know, anything like that. It's just good to have that skill and habit in your back pocket. So in any kind of marketing, you are pushing out a form of communication that usually utilizes a photo or a video, regardless of what it is. So you can think of content creation as kind of creating the message and the visuals that you are going to push out through your marketing channels. And contrary to popular belief, you don't have to have an expensive camera, and a huge setup to be able to capture usable photos and videos for your marketing campaigns. Our cell phones have come so far that they really have become a viable source for content creation. Sometimes, usually there's some editing that needs to be done with that. But all you need to know is a couple proper ways to hold your phone, depending on where you want to shoot it out, and then boom, you've got usable content. So there's definitely times when you should get a higher quality camera and studio setup like this, depending on what you're doing. Like if it's like a banquet video or something like that. But it's not always necessary. So I'm excited to talk about this, to dive in. I'm here today with Kyle Daniel. Kyle is a good friend of mine. We worked at a camp together for several years, and so you can imagine the kinds of content that we put out was all kinds of craziness. I don't know, what was some of the things that we made there?
Someone asked me this the other day, and I went back to my very first summer working there, and we had this huge robot suit that someone had made one year. I mean, it was crazy. And we simulated the robot, who was supposed to be an evil character, kicking a kitten into the lake. And we had a real kitten that we used as a prop, but then we swapped it out for a stuffed one. And the transition, it looked really good.
That is funny. I can't believe I've never seen that. I don't think I have. That's awesome. I remember another with kittens. A guy did a laser cat video compilation. At camp you can go all kinds of ways. I made the camp I worked at as a videographer was the ranch, and I made a Lord of the Ranch series because I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And boy, and the guy who was in charge of the programming there was also a huge Lord of the Rings fan. We might have taken a little too much of camp's time away to make that production, but it was so worth it. So anyway, well, Kyle, let's start with this question. We are a marketing agency, and so we make video content for all kinds of different businesses and companies. So what do you find are the main types of videos that we create for clients?
I think one of the main types that we do is we do a nice interview setup where we will either interview the employees about the business and try to get them to just talk about what they do, so that there's a nice, well-produced piece communicating what their business is and the value that it brings to the public. Additionally, I think we've also done some testimonial videos where the client will bring in some of their more loyal customers who have already agreed to sit down and talk about the business, and we'll just get them to to roll with. Maybe it's a service. I think with a healthcare provider, we did some some people who came in and was like, yeah, this is what I was going through, and they totally helped me figure out what was going on and then correct it.
Yeah. I know we've done some event coverage where you do kind of like a highlight video reel of that. But other effective video types include like a tour of your business, event coverage, staff interview or highlight or testimony, like you just said. An event announcement, a product review. We've done some fun product shots in the studio here, some jewelry shots, and that was really...
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. An encouraging message or just a thank you from the staff, that sort of thing. There's all kinds of ways that you can go with a video because, again, really at the heart of it, you're just communicating a message through visual content. So whatever that message is, you can get it out there in a video way. I would always say just make sure you have a person somewhere in the video. Just that personal connection is usually really important.
Yeah, even if you're doing like product show off, if you're doing a car, show someone interacting with it, opening the door, getting in, looking at the features. Having someone that sort of live reaction, especially if they like cars, or maybe if it's just new and they're like getting to look at it, it creates that personal connection that will draw your viewer in more.
So this is a really funny example. A while ago, we made some videos for like a cleaning company, and I was in the video as the tester trying out these products for the first time, and I literally had never done it. We were sitting there before the shoot, like, okay, what do we do now? How do we do this? Yeah. Reading it and trying to figure out how to do it. And granted, my reactions were a little overemphasized for the sake of the video on purpose, but really, I tried to be like, whoa, this is so cool. This really is like removing this crazy stain that who knew this could get out and all this stuff. Anyway, so fast forward like 2 or 3 years later, we go into this retailer store who sells these products on behalf of this company, and we're trying to understand what his message is and stuff. And he's like, well, let me just show you this product video that we have that I got from the company. And can you believe this guy's reaction is crazy? Then he shows us, and it's me. It's our video that we've done. And so anyway, I love that because he, being a flooring and product guy, got excited because he related to my excitement in the video, which is kind of what we're talking about. So anyway, it was just, afterwards we pointed that out. He's like, that is you. Oh my gosh, that's funny. But that was really funny. Full circle. But videos, they've really skyrocketed this past decade. What do you think has contributed to the increased value of creating videos, during that time?
Well, obviously the widespread availability of the internet helps with that. Like I was part of the generation, we grew up without internet necessarily in the house, or if it did exist, there were only like big name companies who had a website out there, and you couldn't really interact with it at all. They might have pictures of here's our product, but like if you went to like say Coca-Cola's website way back in the day, it's like we're Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
There's no Google Maps, there's no social media integrations. And so all of these factors have sort of, I think, really accelerated the use of video and photo in terms of marketing. Because we've all got this cell phone, this little supercomputer in our hands that has an amazing camera on it, like you mentioned earlier. And so the photo quality on there is very comparable to professional photography equipment from 10, 15 years ago. The stuff now is like shooting in 4K, which is silly. And even there are some phones that shoot in 4K, which is also a little silly. But yeah, the quality that you can get in a very portable and very accessible form factor has really pushed that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because now anybody can make a video.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so and people want to put those videos somewhere, right? And so that's why it's grown in value and popularity. Some other things I think of, obviously you mentioned social media, but there's new avenues to show your video because of that demand, like even live videos on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and everywhere. And then streaming services are huge.
Yes.
Those are new ways that commercials and things have gotten out there. That makes it easier for advertisers to put their commercials, their things out there. And then I think even in the past 2 or 3 years, COVID has really pushed us to go online a lot more and
Absolutely.
to use video a lot more. And even with things like Zoom, I think that's increased that,
Yeah, for sure.
But videos really now are the most important, I'd say, an engaging form of media, at least on social media. They're one of the most effective forms on social media for communicating a message people remember. It's not the highest engaged with content, surprisingly. It was actually a couple years ago, but now it's kind of gone down. But it is the most memorable. If you're trying to communicate a message where you want people to remember it, viewers retain 95% of a message when they watch a video compared to 10% when they read it in text, which is crazy. But again, really, if you really want someone to know, here's what my product does, here's what we do, they're going to remember it a lot more when you're standing there holding a cat saying, hey, we're a humane society and we take care of animals. Great,
Yeah.
I'll remember that because we're visual people, right? We remember visuals a lot more. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say with that, but live videos, especially on social media, have been programmed into the algorithm to be seen a lot more. And that's mainly because a lot of companies like Facebook want to get more of a community and live interaction feel because they've been forced from the government to be more community oriented. And so that's a huge plus too, is to get on there and do that. But I can't stress enough the importance of having just a consistent content or video creation plan in place to continue to have videos that you're doing. And while it's important to create new videos ongoingly, photos are important too. So Kyle, tell us, do you think photos are an important part of the marketing creative, and how do those two kind of interact with one another?
I mean, yeah, I would definitely say that photos are important. I would say that I would say they're as important as video, partially just because they're easier to make.
That's true. Yeah.
You can set up a little product shot. You can take 4 or 5 pictures in the time it would take you to produce one video, and then that's almost a full month worth of content if you only post one thing a week. Yeah. The other thing about video is sometimes people don't want to watch a video.
Yeah, that's true.
It could be that they're burned out from today. And maybe they're just mindlessly scrolling through social media, and a video starts to play, and they're like, I don't have time for this. And so they'll just scroll on to the next thing. And so, but if you have a photo there, you can communicate the entire message in just a few seconds, whereas with a video, you might need to get their attention first.
Yep. I'm trying to find this stat real quick. I think it's this. Yeah, around there. I'm seeing another one. So it's like around 65 to 80% of people watch a video without sound.
Okay.
Which is an interesting stat. And the reason for that is a lot of people are doing something else while a video pops up. They're at work or in the bathroom, on the toilet or anywhere, and they don't want sound. And so that's just another thing to consider as you're doing your content plan. Okay, maybe I want to make sure I have subtitles either manually built in or automatically built in, to the video, depending on where I'm posting it. But anyway, that just made me think of that when you said some people don't want to watch a video. And that's true. And then also some people just don't want to watch a video with sound, and then other people just want to see a picture.
Like if it's me, if I'm in a group of people, I don't want to watch it with sound because I don't want to bug other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because who knows what it might be about. It's not because it's anything weird or bad,
right.
but it's like I don't want to be a noise polluter.
Yeah.
Because it bothers me when the guy over 3 tables over in the restaurant is listening loudly to a video on his phone.
Right,
regardless of whatever it might be.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so again, with photos, they're kind of the bread and butter of your social media posts and your advertisements. A picture speaks 1,000 words, and you can really communicate so much about your business with a single picture. So Kyle, what kinds of photos do you think capture people's attention most? Like we're scrolling through social media, what's going to make someone stop and really think about what you're putting out there?
I mean, one of the things I like is whenever a business showcases their human side, their people side, because a lot of times you can get caught up in, let's say, corporate messaging or product. But if you stop and, maybe, with their permission, if someone's granddaughter came by to visit them just for fun, people like that kind of thing. If, someone brought a dog in, that's an easy photo to throw up. People like animals in general. But if it's someone's birthday and y'all throw a little party for them, that's another thing that people are drawn to. Well, they may not necessarily interact with it, but having that human connection, these are real people at this business. I think that's an important connection that people will grab onto.
And in addition to the connection part of it, you can think of it like this when you're putting people in your photos and videos. Everybody has a little following, a little audience. Could be mom and dad and brother and sister, and that could be it. But a lot of people have, great friends and community and people from college and high school and all that kind of stuff, a following. And so the more people you are putting in and tagging in these different videos, you're actually tapping into each of their individual audiences as well. Which is an important reason to do not only just feature actual people, but also do collaborations with other businesses or other local celebrities, the mayor or whatever to bring them in because you're tapping into their audience whenever you create that content there. So again, I totally agree. People in photos and videos are incredibly important. And then also as you are the one taking the photos, it's important to think outside the box. I remember at camp, the training, I was actually under Kyle and some of the training and some of the things in the manual they talked about were just like, get on a box or like get on a stage or things like that. So what are some perspectives, not really, ordinary to the human eye that might grab someone's attention that are outside the box, if you will?
Yeah. So everyone sees the world at eye level. And so when we hold our phone, the natural temptation is to put it here because that's where we can see the screen and this looks right to us. So what we would encourage you to try and do is get up on a box, maybe stand on a chair, like a sturdy one, and like shoot up here and shoot down into like a team meeting. Or conversely, let's say you're a car company. Instead of it being out in the parking lot and just standing here as the car rolls by, get down, put your camera like on the ground and tilt it up just a little bit. An angle that is not where you normally see your everyday life from is going to be eye-catching and it's going to be different. Because even if it's just kneeling down to like where a child would be, you haven't been that size for a very long time. So it's going to look very different to you.
Yeah.
Other things you can do is there's a technique that we taught, and I don't think this is the correct term. I'm sure there's a much more Hollywood term for it. It's called compression. Okay. And it's just put something in the foreground. So a way to get someone in the shot is to shoot over their shoulder. And so you frame it here, but then your subject is over here. And so there's still a person in the shot. But whatever it is they're looking at is now the subject. But it adds a fill, and it just makes it more interesting to look at.
Yeah, I love that. I think too with perspectives, another reason drone shots have become so popular is for that reason. It's just a new angle that before. Actually, one of our clients told me 40 years ago they paid $15,000 for someone to get in a helicopter and fly over their property and film it.
Yeah.
And now you can do it for $500 with an agency or something to just go over your property with a drone. But with that blows my mind that they thought it was that valuable to get that different perspective. And obviously with properties, it's a little different to show your whole property. But again, it goes back to that perspective of just it is so valuable for us to see something in a new way, in a new light. And that's interesting. That's fun. That's something we're not used to. Yeah, so that's good. So, overall, content creation it's really an important part of your marketing, and you can become an extreme expert in photography and videography and learn to make commercials and do some extreme editing. But content creation is also for novices, and you don't have to be an expert to start taking photos and videos. And really, actually, I would encourage you to do that. There's a fine balance, but there's one side where if you just start getting stuff out there and on there, like you are 5 steps ahead of the next guy,
yes.
Right? As you begin to do that, I would encourage you to craft your skill a little bit and to make it look better and cleaner and prettier as time goes on. But if you're just putting some stuff out there regularly, you're doing better than most people out there. So I was my last couple comments are, so you mentioned dog. One of our clients is a car dealership, and he has a dog that essentially goes to work with him every day and lives at the car dealership. And so anytime we post pictures of that dog, that community there in that city knows that dog. And so just the reactions are so, it blows my mind that at a car dealership that gets the most views. But they're really focused on that community connection and really engaging with the community in that way. So yes, dogs, people, photos, events, things going on, interesting perspectives. Those are all important for content creation. I don't know, Kyle, any other thoughts or things you've seen in video wise or that we've done that would be helpful to share with businesses or marketers?
Well, I guess the first thing I would say is anyone who's nervous about taking your own photos and videos because you don't think that you're very good, you will get better with practice. Yeah. And it can also help to get feedback of someone who you respect, who can also be honest with you about whatever your feedback, or about whatever that is. Maybe it's you have a tendency to, you just have a tendency to be just a little crooked, which can lend itself to a shot, but in some scenarios is not what you want. But whatever you do, practice will help you to get better. And so don't be afraid to start throwing it out there, because something is better than nothing. And at the end of the day, at a certain point, you can always go back and sort of pull the really old stuff or the really bad stuff down.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's good. Yep, absolutely. Last thing we want to touch on is just length of time of your video content. So it's interesting. There's two ends of this, and both are good. Either the first end that is a good amount of time is like 15 to 30 seconds. And that's really good. And it's also really sad that that's our attention span. But that's...
We'll get to the next point, though.
Yeah, that's what the internet has done. But then the next point is that it's either that or a video that's over 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to me. Anywhere in between there is not great. But the reasoning for that is those are based off of content statistics and engagement statistics, that people either engage with a really short video because they don't have a lot of time, but they get your message, okay, I got it, move on. Or they're totally on board and they totally are a fan of whatever you're doing. Let's go back to the car dealership. You're reviewing the newest 2022 model. Yeah. It's a 8-minute video, but hey, Jerry's going to watch it because he loves all things Jeep, and he's going to tune in to see what the latest specs are, So it's kind of funny. Those are the two two different sides of that. I don't know. What would you say in your experience?
Well, I know that just from my personal experience, like my YouTube recommendations that I get, most of the videos are 8 minutes plus.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is crazy to me to think that I watch videos but I do, because especially you get into things like I'm a big fan of like biology and science and animals, and so people will post videos on, some kind of monkey species. And while I don't particularly like monkeys, I like the idea of learning about this creature. Yeah. But it's always like you can't cover that in 30 seconds. Right. Yeah. It's like an 8 to 10 minute video, and usually they're entertaining or they've got jokes in there or something like that. Yeah. And so it's a lot of fun to do. But also, yes, if a video doesn't grab me in the first 30 seconds, I'm out.
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, the biggest takeaway from this episode that we want for you guys to grow in and learn from is the value of video and photo content creation is immense. And it's important to just begin to develop that skill, that habit of you're at an event and then you realize, I should take a photo. There's a lot of people in this room,
Yeah, it's something you should work into your event day plans. Is maybe you make it an assignment for your employees. Everyone take 5 photos that you like and approve and send them to me.
I love that. That's so good. So make it become a habit. If you're putting stuff out there, you're ahead of the next guy. It's for experts and for novices. And so, get out there and start making some content. So anyway, we appreciate you guys joining us for this podcast, and thanks for Kyle for coming. Yep. We can't wait for you to join us next time on Marketing Impressions. Marketing Impressions is brought to you by M. Roberts Digital. M. Roberts Digital is your local marketing company with global reach. We uniquely and proudly offer every kind of marketing imaginable for our clients' campaigns. Quite simply, we make you successful. By hitting our goals month after month, M. Roberts Digital has continued to grow year after year and achieve unprecedented success. You can learn more and start your own marketing campaign at mrobertsdigital.com.